This is Witchbase News for Friday the 15th of August 2025. I'm Commander Burr. In Elite Dangerous news this week, the first ever Drakir Rally is a monster success. A library of Elite Dangerous cartoon style artwork is updated with the new ships, and the Vanguard's update is just around the corner. If you enjoy our videos, consider subscribing to the channel and remember to ping the little bell to make sure you see all our content and community posts. And if you'd like to help support our channel, links to our Patreon and everything else are in the description below. The inaugural Drakir Rally, hosted by Alec Turner and the Buckyball Racing Club, took place on Sunday this last week. I say inaugural as so successful was the event that the plan is now very much to not only make the 260km point-to-point SRV Rally an annual event, but also organiser Alec is kicking around the idea of a smaller, similarly styled Christmas rally. Winners across the finishing line were distinguished by individuals and teams. In the individual race, Commander Shay Blackwood was first across the line at Drakir Point in 45 minutes and 5 seconds, closely followed by Commanders Duck and Alec Turner respectively. In the team race, the elite racers came first, followed by the Drakir Dumbnuts and Team Chaos in third place. Absolutely sterling efforts by all. The Drakir Rally is by design a long and arduous race, not for the faint of heart, and no matter where you ended up along the 260km course, you deserve praise even for the attempt. However, I would be remiss if I didn't single out and give special mention in particular to the frankly heroic effort from the streamer Commander Wacko in the amazing Project SimStar full motion simulator rig. The rules of the rally state that if your SRV is destroyed, that counts as a did not finish, but whilst streaming the whole thing from the sim rig, Commander Wacko was determined to at least complete the course, no matter how long it took. And after blowing up and resetting all the way back to the start line multiple times, he ended up completing the course, but it took him over 14 hours to do so. Wacko normally streams in a custom created military style uniform. For the sake of his personal comfort, he removed the dress uniform as the hours dragged on. However, for crossing the finishing line over 14 hours after the rally started, he put the uniform back on to cross the finishing line wearing it. 07 Commander. And that, folks, is how you spell determination. You'll find Alec's write-up, the league table of finishers and the YouTube channel of Commander Wacko's Project SimStar linked in the description below this video. If you're in the market for a full set of scalable Elite Dangerous cartoon style ship images for your use in your personal artwork, Discord, forum signature, avatar or 1,000 other things, then this week is your lucky week. Our thanks to Commander Drezek for pointing us to a Reddit post where Commander Cohen Leth has added to their now 7-year-old archive of vectored and cartoonised Elite Dangerous ships, with the entire crop of new ships so far, including the just announced but as yet unreleased Type 11 Prospector. There is also a great big colouring book of Elite Dangerous ships available in left or right handed variants in case you wish to reinforce your own obsession via the medium of crayons, or perhaps even convert those that have ignored your years of nagging or are immune to your more subtle psychological manipulation and are therefore yet to be indoctrinated. After all, they can't all run and hide forever, now can they? You'll find all of this linked in the description below this video. The launch date for the next free update to Elite Dangerous, entitled Vanguards, was announced by Frontier earlier this week, and in case you missed it, you may want to scribble Tuesday the 19th of August into your calendar. The forum announcement itself was light on specific details, aside from saying that the update itself will be arriving and that the update notes and a release schedule would be released closer to the time. But it's a safe bet you can expect some extended downtime on Tuesday morning UK time while FDev deploy the update. The announcement was also accompanied by a promotional image giving us another look at the huge squadron carrier vessel that is one of the main tentpole features of the update. How one of these carriers is acquired, what costs or effort are involved in that acquisition, Frontier are still staying tight-lipped about. We do however have some insight into the functionality that it provides to the squadron and its members, over and above being a mass transportation system and base of operations. Perhaps the biggest highlighted feature of the carrier itself is that of the bank, where Frontier have said will be able to store and share resources, items and even ships. The specifics of exactly what the words resources and items equate to at FDev haven't really been addressed specifically. The earlier work in progress screenshots of the Vanguard's UI that the company shared back in May indicate that the bank would store credits, ships, commodities and then what was labelled at the time at least as personal assets. The personal assets tab of the bank had an icon that appeared to be a backpack, which does seem to imply on-foot equipment or materials, but it could possibly mean that there is simply an allocation of personal storage space on the fleet carrier, like your own locker or inventory. In the original releases, the credits portion of the bank was referred to as the wallet. However, in the last week or so we've seen FDev refer to this now as the treasury, which makes a lot more sense. The subject of engineered ships not being available in the carrier bank for squadron members has proven to be the most controversial decision of the update so far. From FDev's perspective, any easily acquired engineered ships, even only partially engineered, would cut into their newly established jump starter ship revenue streams, so I can't see them being okay with that. That doesn't mean I necessarily agree with it however. It does mean that a squadron can provide a player with an unengineered ship build for them to go and engineer, and that might have some value to it as a one-stop shop, albeit a possibly limited one. Away from that, if a bunch of players are going mining or hauling or running passengers etc, and one commander doesn't have a insert ship type here, then I can see that also bringing some value to the table. When it comes to most general combat or AX gameplay scenarios, then the value curve of the ship bank absolutely begins to flatline quite significantly however. The pooling and sharing of credits resources is undoubtedly going to prove useful. Right now, personal fleet carriers are utilised to move wealth around, but it's a somewhat laborious process, and so taking that off the table within the confines of a squadron at least will be great. For any shared goals such as BGS work, power play, exploration or colonisation in particular, I can see squadron carriers and the different aspects of the bank utility being a very nice addition that will likely take a degree of donkey work away from personal fleet carriers and perhaps encourage players to occupy the same space a bit more than they do at the moment, as they'll operate more from the same carrier vessel. The squadron carrier is however just one facet of the larger update. Vanguard's is itself a refresh and rebuild of the squadron system to bring it much more in line with, let's be honest here, really what it should have been when squadrons originally launched around 7 years ago now, back in 2018. Away from the carrier, Vanguard's introduces updated ranks and permissions for its members, a squadron perks system, a rework of the squadron leaderboard system, a logo designer and squadron decal. But I think for me, one of the more interesting additions that I'm looking forward to getting to grips with is the revamped squadron communication tools. Currently squadron chat is completely transitory and, assuming you're online and in the game, it disappears from the screen very quickly. If you're not online, then you'll miss it completely. Almost all squadron or shared goals in our game here, at least, are handled almost exclusively via Discord. Vanguards will be introducing a squadron feed and bulletin board that should facilitate some easily accessible squadron specific information drops and goal sharing at the very least. I'm not convinced it will replace Discord completely, but it should certainly complement it to a degree and save on at least a small degree of screen swapping. Overall, following Vanguards, squad leaders should have a lot more support in how they control their operations, and members should be able to see genuine, more quantifiable in-game benefits from being in a squadron, which can only be a good thing. And it will likely become easier to actually play with your squad mates going forward. That appears to be FDev's goal. Following the announcement about the release date, Zach, the brand manager for Elite Dangerous, took to Twitter to share some ideas on what flavour of squadron players might create in a post-Vanguards galaxy. The suggestions are oddly a little specific in nature and honestly don't really reflect how most squadrons operate day to day, but they do give an indication of the more holistic value that an individual squadron might get from the Vanguard's feature set overall, so they're worth checking out with that specific caveat in mind. Did you participate in the Drakir rally? Are you converting unsuspecting family members to the Elite Dangerous way using psychologically manipulative colouring books? And what feature of Vanguards has you most intrigued? Let us know in the comments below. That's it for now. Thanks very much for watching. We'll be back later this week with more videos. Until then, 07 Commanders, follow the greens on the way out and do keep clear of the toast rack. We very much look forward to seeing you next time.